How many more fights would you say? I know you said maybe one, but come on.
I don't know, 1, 2.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not one of those guys. I told you, I'm not one of those guys that's gonna be fighting till I'm 45 and I'm punching.
I think Spence will be in the Hall of Fame.
Right now? No, how? He fought in one division. He had a WBC, WBA.
He wasn't undisputed.
No, he wasn't. No, what I'm saying is they already called him a weight bully. He beat Kell Brook coming off of a loss, an eye injury. He beat Sean Porter.
In all fairness, he had to go over there to get that.
You know what I mean? That's a good win. I'm still a fan. I hope he do well. But like, once it got to the point where I moved up in weight and I'm in the same weight as Spence, it's just like, oh man, you ain't fighting nobody. You this, you that, you this.
Terence Crawford has once again reignited his rivalry with Errol Spence Jr. after responding to Spence's unexpected call-out for a rematch with a taunting remark. Crawford, the undisputed welterweight champion, dismissed Spence's challenge as nothing more than a quick money grab, insisting that the outcome of a second fight would be no different from their first encounter.
Accomplishment just to boost him up. I'm like, dude, you're not gonna do that because I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. Everything that I've accomplished, he's still trying to accomplish. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him. I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades that.
If anything, it would likely be even worse for Spence. Their rivalry, which many believed had been put to rest after Crawford's dominant victory 2 years ago, has suddenly been thrust back into the spotlight. Spence, who suffered a brutal knockout loss in their highly anticipated bout, has been out of the ring since then, but is now preparing for his return.
Possibility where you would rematch Errol Spence, or is he in a position where he needs to win again before that makes sense for you?
The possibility is there.
I'm walking over my feet. You know, I want to get out the game. I got kids, got a mom and dad, and you know, they want to enjoy me. So.
Despite having multiple potential opponents to choose from, Spence has set his sights on Crawford once again. However, this decision was not entirely self-initiated. The spark that reignited his determination for a rematch came after Crawford's controversial comments on a podcast, where he claimed that Spence was not fit or qualified to be inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Crawford's remarks did not sit well with Spence or many in the boxing community.
I think I come to the end, and you know, sadly, this definitely got to come to the end. So I'm definitely gonna get out while I still can, and not either be forced out or I have to keep fighting because I need money.
Add one more belt though.
Spence, a fighter who has faced and conquered adversity, including surviving a devastating car accident and subsequently returning to defeat top-tier opponents, felt particularly insulted by the claim. Many boxing analysts and professionals also found Crawford's statement to be not only disrespectful but dismissive of Spence's accomplishments.
For his title, I'm fighting for a title, and there's a possibility. He win his fight, God willing. I win my fight, God willing. And there's a possibility, right?
After all, Spence had unseated reigning champions, unified major world titles, and built an impressive resume that solidified his place as one of the best welterweights of his era. The tension between the two fighters had been brewing ever since their initial showdown, where Crawford delivered a masterclass performance, dismantling Spence and securing a conclusive victory. That bout, which was years in the making, ended with Crawford establishing himself as the superior fighter.
I mean, I got a lot of skill sets I feel like advantages over him. But at the end of the day, I feel like this fight is basically so even. You know, it's going to be more about just being more focused and, you know, not getting out of focus, especially in the later rounds, just making sure, staying on point all throughout the fight and making sure you don't lose focus.
Leaving little doubt about who was the best in the division. With such a one-sided outcome, many assumed that a rematch would be unnecessary and that both fighters would move on to new challenges. However, Crawford's recent comments have now fueled Spence's desire for redemption. While some fans are eager to see the two fighters step into the ring again, others question whether a rematch would be competitive.
Nothing really surprised me. He was just like I thought. It just my timing wasn't good today.
Questions for Errol Spence Jr.?
Hey, Errol, Keith Heideck from BoxingScene.com. What do you attribute your timing not being there to? Did you feel off?
Spence has yet to prove he is the same fighter he was before suffering that devastating loss, and Crawford appears to be at the peak of his powers.
Your timing not being there too, did you feel off physically or anything, or what was wrong in the fight?
Yeah, felt a little off physically, but most times I get through it. So, I thought it was gonna be just like the other times, but I couldn't.
Additionally, Crawford's confidence in his ability to dominate Spence again suggests that he sees this potential fight as an easy payday rather than a true test of his skills. With Spence's return to the ring imminent,
I don't go in there looking for the knockout. I go looking for the win. But if he get out of line, he's gonna be the next one down.
it remains to be seen whether the two will indeed face off again, or if Spence will pursue other opportunities before stepping back into the ring with Crawford. Regardless of what happens, the tension between them has ensured that their rivalry remains one of the most talked about stories in boxing.
My belt off then.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
I'ma do it. I'ma do it. Errol?
You don't need more than the belt. I don't know what you talking about. I ain't one of your kids.
I'ma
You don't
treat
need
you
more than the belt. I ain't one of your
I'ma
kids.
treat you like one.
Yeah, all right, we gonna see.
All right, we definitely.
Terence Crawford has once again reignited his rivalry with Errol Spence Jr. after responding to Spence's unexpected callout for a rematch with a taunting remark. Crawford, the undisputed welterweight champion,
I got to feel for his power. Probably like first, second round. He's a strong dude, but everybody at this top level have some type of power. But I think because my time was out, he was catching me in between shots.
I get to say I told y'all because I've been asking for these fights for years, and y'all been saying, "Oh, he's too small. He's gonna get this. He's gonna get broken."
dismissed Spence's challenge as nothing more than a quick money grab, insisting that the outcome of a second fight would be no different from their first encounter. If anything, it would likely be even worse for Spence. Their rivalry, which many believe
You just keep getting up. Like he like, man, I'm not giving up. I don't care what you do. I'm gonna keep getting up, and I'm gonna keep fighting. So, yeah, he did what he had to do to last the time that he lasted.
You think the ref should have stopped it?
had been put to rest after Crawford's dominant victory 2 years ago, has suddenly been thrust back into the spotlight. Spence, who suffered a brutal knockout loss in their highly anticipated bout, has been out of the ring since then.
Stop it.
Right, yeah,
But
but
I
I think,
think-
you think he should have stopped it at that time, because even when he stopped it, Errol was, put his hands up like, I'm still going. Do you think that was the time to stop the fight?
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think that his corner should have stepped in the 7th round. I feel as if, they believed in Errol, but at the same time, they should have saved the fighter from.
But is now preparing for his return. Despite having multiple potential opponents to choose from, Spence has set his sights on Crawford once again. However, this decision was not entirely self-initiated. The spark that reignited his determination for a rematch
The fighter from himself. Because as fighters, we gonna keep fighting until there's no fight left. But at the point where, they see that there's no possible way.
came after Crawford's controversial comments on a podcast, where he claimed that Spence was not fit or qualified to be inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Crawford's remarks did not sit well with Spence or many in the boxing community. Spence, a fighter who has faced and conquered adversity, including surviving a devastating car accident and subsequently returning to defeat top-tier opponents, felt particularly insulted by the claim. Many boxing analysts and professionals also found Crawford's statement to be not only disrespectful but dismissive of Spence's accomplishments. After all, Spence had unseated reigning champions, unified major world titles, and built an impressive resume that solidified his place as one of the best welterweights of his era.